Got another podcast from Grove Studios in Ypsilanti, the home of the podcast since the fall of 2020. This is a spot that if you are a musician in the Ann Arbor or Detroit area and you're looking for a place to practice, make a lot of noise without disturbing your neighbors. Their motto is get out of the garage and get into the studio. This is a place that you can do that at. There's a room for full band like we're in here with Brian. We've got a half-size room. There's a place for DJs to practice. There's another room that's about the same as the half-size room. 5 different rooms to pick from 24/7. It doesn't really matter when you want to practice. As long as the space is available, you can do it here at Grove Studios. And returning to the podcast, and I do try to limit return visits because the first trip, I usually do a pretty deep dive into my guest's life. But this artist is too significant in my life. He's got a pretty important spot in my desire.
Shucks.
No, I mean, I've told you the story, but like your encouragement when I did the first interview we did back at WHFR on a show.
You're always great, John.
Well, it was the encouragement that kept me going, and that was almost 20 years ago now.
Good.
Actually, probably more than 20 years ago. I think about it. But your first solo album was just coming out then,
Resurrection, yeah.
And now, actually, it was out. And now we're about to see a new Verve Pipe album number 10.
Oh man,
Question mark?
is it? It might be. Yeah, if you don't count the kids' records, I think we're up to. If you count the kids' record, I think it's 12.
Okay.
I don't know. We just keep churning them out.
Well, I'm glad because I'm always interested.
I am too.
The songwriting is still some of my favorite songwriting. I just saw you last night.
I appreciate that.
And you did some of those great solo songs that you don't do with the Verve Pipe. And
Yeah.
to me, I mean, 1229 Sheffield was recorded as a Verve Pipe song for a soundtrack, though I can't remember what soundtrack.
Yeah, it was
Clay
originally.
Pigeons?
It was no. Was it?
Might have been
No. Oh, yeah, it was. It was Clay Pigeons. That's right. That was in the movie,
Yeah.
and then we did it as a band, and
Right.
I didn't care for it.
Right.
Yeah, so it wasn't the same for what I wanted.
And it leads off Resurrection, and you did it last night. And every time I hear it, I go, this is as good songwriting as it gets. This is as good as Dylan. This is as
appreciate
good as
that.
Springsteen.
Oh,
This is,
get out of here.
No, I'm not. I'm not
Thank
blowing
you.
smoke. To me, the way you paint that picture with those lyrics is just,
Yeah.
and you continue to do that with this new album. Even there's imagery that comes to mind. But I don't know the name of the album. I have digital files.
Oh.
I don't know what the album's called or when it's coming out.
I think we're calling it Reconciled.
Okay.
I do know. Actually, I know that because the artwork went in. So it's called Reconciled.
Do you know the release date?
Wait, I don't even know the release date. It's crazy. It's got to be within. I was talking to Doug, our manager, and he's like, "Well, you don't want to put it out at Christmas time, So let's let Christmas go by." And the first of the year, first month of the year is a terrible time to release records. I'm just like, what does it matter? It doesn't matter anymore.
People
Can we just
want to
put it
hear-
out?
Yeah, just put it out.
I think there's such a backup with vinyl, and we concentrate pretty heavily on vinyl now that I think we're just waiting to get the album.
Okay.
So, and I don't think anybody wants to pick a date because vinyl gets behind and then you got to release, and it's like, I just say put them out there. That's the way I look at it.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I don't think there's there's no need to be so precious anymore. In the old days on the record label, you're super precious, I remember when the Freshmen came out, they went to radio stations and we want to play you the new song by the Verve Pipe, and they treated it like it was a Quentin Tarantino script. Like they had to sit there and listen to it with the program director, and then they take it away from him. They just wanted to
Get reaction.
tease him.
Yeah.
This is what's coming. No, you can't keep it. That kind of thing. So anyway, those were the days when, releases were very precious. And now I just feel like, put it out. There's so much out there.
Yeah.
There's so much music out there. Just put it out. So,
Well, 10 new songs that some people haven't heard yet. I have had the pleasure of hearing it already. What one would you like to do, and tell me a little bit about it?
oh yeah. I'd like to do. I'm gonna do Hollow Bones.
Okay. There was a poem with this yesterday.
Yeah,
People who see you in concert.
I've never done that. That was a first for me.
You thinking about a book of poems, perhaps?
I am. Yeah, I've been on. That one wouldn't fit this book, but I'm selling an idea. I've got an agent who loves the idea of doing kind of an anti. My background growing up in a very conservative Christian home, and it's more of how do I explain it? The things that really messed me up. Growing up in a Christian home, things that my parents said that affected me years later, still affect me. it's more poems like that. And then I the poem I read last night, it was going to be about, a book of love poems. And he was like, yeah, that's not going to sell. I'm like, yeah, there's probably enough love poems.
Kind of.
But he's like, I can sell the anti-church one easily.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, okay. So I've never read a poem like that. It felt a little weird, poetry reading, but it does go with the song, I think. I don't have the poem with me, otherwise I'd read it for you. I hope I can hit the high notes.
People
today.
just have to come see a show because maybe you'll do it at another
Yeah.
show. That's our tease.
I'm going to drop the key. I think this might be okay. Okay, this is called Hollow Bones. This is one of those songs that took forever to write. I kept changing lyrics. It wasn't making sense. And I think we finally got it with a little help from Channing. Time to close the window, this is more than a breeze. The birds have all gone quiet in the bending trees. They worry about their hollow bones and wonder will the branches break and leave them with no hope, no chance against the wind. The heart is more an engine than a metaphor for love. It's practical, efficient, but it's heavy with blood. Heavy on our hollow bones. We wonder will the branches break and leave us with no hope, no chance against the wind. Blame it on the heart, as light as a feather, up against the wind and battered by the weather. My empty heart is as light as a feather, taken by the wind, and I'm ready to surrender with my hollow bones and with these empty aches and with no hope, no chance against the wind. And every time we let love in, I wonder will the branches break and leave me with no hope, no chance against the wind. And every time we let love in, it's for another chance to fly. So maybe we won't spend another night alone.
Sharing his gifts today on Acoustic Alternatives, Brian Vander Ark, previewing the new Verve Pipe record with a song called Hollow Bones here at Grove Studios. And my brain apparently is not good enough to remember the name of the album. Forgiveness, no. Reconcile. I was on the right track. It was a feeling. It was a feelings-oriented thing.
That's a title that was debated ad nauseum with the band. I thought, well, it sounds like you're giving up and giving in, and and I was like, honestly, it feels like it with the band. Like I'm much with this configuration of the band, especially with Brad coming back in and his whole attitude and everything. Brad brought a lot of baggage back with him from Donnie and AJ. Like, they were not fun to travel with. They were just pains in the ass. Very difficult to be around. And Brad was in that complaining, thing. And we had such a positivity thing going with Joel. And, Channing, Joel, and I, and Lou, that when Brad came back in, he started with his, kind of crankiness. I'm like, that's not going to cut it. You got to knock that shit off right now, because this is a very positive band. Like, we play a lot. We take gigs that don't pay. We just want to play. We want to work together. And, he felt, he's changed over the last 4 years coming back, and it's been great. But, so I feel like there's a reconciliation between Brad and I and Brad and the band. And also I feel like, I'm much more easygoing with Lou and Channing, where I used to be quite the control freak. And we got to do this, and we got to do this, and we got to do this. And I'm kind of let all that go, because they're both very smart people, and they know art, and they know how to be artistic. And I think everybody realizes that, we're not going to have a song, we're not going to have a hit song anymore. It's like, let's just do what we want and enjoy it. And that's what we've been doing. So
makes sense.
It's working. It's working.
It's a good attitude to go into it. The industry has changed enough since you started to know what the game is, right?
Well, now for us, it's more of being a great live band. You've got to be a great live band now. There's so much.
Anyway. You don't sell product.
Exactly right. And now, since COVID, every band is on the road. Like, every band is, competing for stages. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to get booked. Like, we haven't played in Austin or in Texas in so long. It's like impossible. And people are like, why don't you go to Austin? Or why don't you guys play in Nashville more? It's like, everybody's playing in Austin and Nashville. It's impossible to get a stage. And again, and this isn't meant to be a bitch fest, but it's just the reality of what it is that the promoters are in the catbird seat. Because you can get any band now for cheap. Like, they don't have to pay out the guarantees they used to. And so it's very, very competitive. It's like, we got to bring our prices down, in hope that we sell out so we get the bonus bump and that kind of thing. So, so it's a whole different thing now. Just being a great live band is the most important thing. And it's working. We're doing this Creed cruise again. This will be our third Creed cruise. The fact that we're one of 8 bands that go out with Creed. That's a compliment. Yeah. It's a pretty nice thing, And, somebody canceled on, and we're the first one they called. I'm assuming, I hope we're the first one they called.
Just believe it.
I believe we're the first one they called. Yeah. Verve Pipe will do it. They'll do anything. And it's true. We'll pretty much do anything. But those cruises are a blast. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Yeah. So
your last visit here was October 2021, and that time we were previewing Threads, which was really, I'm going to say, in my top 3 Verve Pipe albums that you've released.
Really?
Oh, man, I love that. That's a great record. It really is.
That's a bit shocking to me.
It shouldn't be. It's well written, and it's well performed, and there are some really good songs.
Yeah. I have mixed feelings about that record.
Well, you don't do much from it anymore.
Yeah.
The times I've seen you, I haven't really seen since the release. You haven't really been going.
Well, that second side is very rock. You deserve, whatever comes around, and yes, another names of the songs escape me. Mm-hmm. But that was a more pleasurable, more pleasurable experience than this last experience, which was for this album. But I like this album better.
Okay,
I do like this album better, and I do like Parachute. We don't do a lot off Parachute either, but I do like that record. Yeah, Threads, just something. There's something about it that it was a bit disjointed for me for some reason. we had there's some great moments. Like I think that the string moments in the Set Me on Fire is just fantastic. It's one of the more musical things we've ever done. And No One's Gonna Break This Heart Again, I think, is a great song, and people really love that one.
You may recall our conversation that I said that would make a great centerpiece for the musical based on the lyrics of your songs. Like if they did a Mamma Mia, this was something we talked about last night.
Right.
They did a Mamma Mia with your catalog. That's the centerpiece
Yeah.
of the show.
I love it.
It has the hit potential to be a show tune.
I'm actually quite excited that you feel that way about that record. I really didn't know that.
I always tell you from the heart what I mean. So
you don't hold back, dude. I mean,
not.
if you don't like something, you'll say I don't like it, and I that's why I trust your judgment.
Thank you. Well,
So I'm going to give that album a listen today. And I go, what does he see? No.
go back and listen to our old interview from 4 years ago.
Maybe I will.
It was a nice chat.
No.
It was a really nice chat. But
Yeah.
it seemed like, we can't really talk about the new record because I've heard the lyrics without pointing to some of the personal things that are going on in your life. And as I re-listened to Threads, it was like, is this a preview of what was going on that I didn't really know was going on in your personal life?
Yeah, probably.
Because there's some stuff. No One's Gonna Break This Heart Again. Felt like
Yeah.
I didn't know anything was going on in your life, but until I heard it later, I'm like, oh, maybe that was a preview.
Well, that was a really sad moment that my ex Lux and I had at the table, where she just didn't feel like she could, it's a question of whether you're going to be able to love me for the rest of your life. I don't know. wait, what? We're married, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't mean to throw Lux under the bus. Listen,
No.
Wonderful woman, wonderful wife, fantastic mother.
Had interactions with her and liked her a lot.
But broke my heart. It's tough. It was a tough one. But we married. She was young. We got married. I mean, she was very young, and she didn't know what she wanted. And then spending 18 years together, and you kind of figure out what your life is, and she kind of had to give up the music thing, to raise the family and the whole thing. And it's like, I get it. I 100% get it. Where she wants to start living, again. But then, the avenue that I have for that pain is to write.
Of course.
So there's a lot of stuff on this record that was tough to write and very painful.
Easy to say goodbye doesn't feel like a very nice way.
That was Lou's song, by the way.
Everyone's going to assume it's yours if we don't get that out there.
It's funny. No, I want to make this clear. I had an idea for that, but it was Lou's song originally, and I said, well, what if we put a play on words and stuff? And then that has nothing to do with my personal life whatsoever. And the funny thing is that's probably the most pointed thing on the record. I mean, the one that really is, the Easy Way Out that's the one that tells our story, 100% our story. No, not easy to say goodbye. I figured people would probably think that too. And it's like, what can I do?
That's a song.
Donnie wrote so many great songs that people, back then it was like I was very concerned that people would think that I wrote the songs that Donnie wrote. I hated Never Let You Down. Hated it. I had a whole different lyric. I don't know if I told you that or not.
Maybe.
What happened was, we Never Let You Down. And Donnie's a great songwriter.
Happiness Is a great
Happiness Is should have been the single on that
100%.
record. I was like, this song is interesting. It's fun. It sounds like us. I'm like, this, and the lyrics were so much better than Never Let You Down. And the label and Donnie and our manager agreed that they wanted Never Let You Down to be it. But I didn't like the song at all. I didn't like the lyric. It was just too easy. It was written to be a hit song, and it was like, we can do better. So, the original lyric, I was working on the lyric. I'm trying to keep my feet on the ground. I'm in too deep, completely surrounded by the thought, the thrill of having you around, and I will never let you down. See, that to me is a better lyric. However, would it have been as catchy? I don't know. So there's a huge fight in the studio about it. Like I'm like, Donnie, I'm not going to sing those lyrics of yours. I just hate them. There's nothing artistic about it.
Disingenuous if you can't feel it, right?
100%. And nobody ever understood that. I need to be able to feel it to really deliver it. Of
course.
And so there's a huge fight in the studio over that one. And so Brian Malouf, our RCA A&R rep, he said, well, just do me a favor. Just sing, we'll compare the two. Just sing his version and then sing your version. And we'll take it home and compare it, and we'll think about it. And I made the mistake of doing that. And then they took that vocal
And tricked you.
and they put it on the record. And I was like, oh, you bastards.
But it actually was a minor hit, so.
It was a minor hit. I mean, it did get in the top 20.
I
or
still hear it
50.
occasionally on the radio. Actually.
I know. I mean, but, I felt like, at that time we needed a hit too. I mean, we really needed a hit after the Frog record. So I should have been happy, but I was in a place where I didn't care about the hits anymore. I was like, it's too hard to chase. You just chase your tail trying to write a hit song. I think I could write, if I had, if I had the ability to go back with the knowledge that I have now, I think I could write hit songs,
Okay.
But back then there was so much experimenting going on, and who are we and what are we doing? We played a show with Tonic. Love Tonic. Love Emerson Hart. I don't know if you've met. Has he?
Yeah,
Have you been? Yeah.
not here, but I've had an interaction with him. He was
Great
super,
guy.
Yeah, super. I'd love to see him again.
Just a fantastic guy. I see him on these cruises. He does all the cruises too, because he can bring his family. Excuse me. Anyway, so we played a show in Woodstock, Georgia. It was outdoors. Probably it's got to be like 7,000 or 8,000 people showed up this thing with us and Tonic. We opened for Tonic, and when we got done, it was such a fun show. We had such a blast, and the crowd was there with us. And before Emerson went on, he was backstage. I said, "Man, why is it so fun now? You know what I mean? Why is this so fun?"
Pressure's off.
He said, what he said was, because back then we were so concerned about what everybody else was doing, and should we wear this, and should we do this, and what's this band doing, what's this band doing, what's this, we didn't know what we were doing, essentially he said. Now we all know what we're doing. Like, we don't care. Yeah. We're going to go out and put a great show, and we don't got to worry about, BMG being there, whatever. We just put on the show for the fans, and we love it. And he was exactly right. Back then, we were all so concerned, about selling out or sounding like we were selling out or what other bands thought. We had the opportunity to sell Photograph to Kodak for, it was a dump truck full of cash. It was so much money. They wanted that song. Yes, exactly. And we were like, no, we're not going to sell out to, whatever. Such a stupid thing, because then the next year, the Verve sells their song to Nike, and I think Moby licensed every single one of his songs, right? From Play. Every song was licensed. It was like, oh, I guess it's cool to get a money grab now, and we're like, damn it, And then by the time we got back with Kodak, they were defunct. So
they took your Kodachrome away.
Exactly. Nice.
I know you're a Paul fan.
I'm a huge Paul fan.
Yeah.
So now we don't worry about. It's nothing to worry about. I know I know how the machine works within our band, and we go out and we play, and we always put on a great show. That's all there is to it. And if we don't, sometimes I'll say, "Oh, that show was not good," and people will go, "Oh, it's my favorite show ever," because you just don't know.
Yeah.
It's how I feel about it. I guess that matters, but regardless.
Given the personal nature of some of the songs in this record, how hard was it to put the record together, and how hard is it to sing them to people?
Great question. Hollow Bones, I get very emotional. Singing Hollow Bones. I get teary-eyed. I feel a lump in my throat when I'm performing it, which has never happened before. Never.
I'm sorry, man.
No, it's fine. It's great. That means I'm doing the right thing as a writer. I'm really putting it out there. And funny enough, there's enough ambiguity in Hollow Bones where there isn't the ambiguity in Easy Way Out, which is more our story. And I don't have the same effect with that one. That one doesn't have the same effect. There's something about it that's, they're two different. I'll play it for you in a second here. I'll play it for you. And you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. But, Hollow Bones is a little complicated in the arrangement. There's, tempo changes. There's a whole thing. It's very artistic compared to the other one. The other one's just a nice song. It sounded to me like, and when I went into the studio with Andy Reid, I said, yeah, I feel like this is like a Tom Petty thing. It's just like 3.5-minute song, and I feel like Tom Petty could have sang this song. Sure. You know what I mean? So it's not the same as Hollow Bones, which is very specific to the art. of who I am, and that's why it was so important to get the lyric right. And now that I have the lyric right, and we're playing it, and it's artistic, and it's musical, and people love it, it's the standout on the record. That gets me super emotional, and that's never happened before, never. Not even with the freshmen. So.
I enjoy it, but I'm going to tell you, Tattoo is my standout.
Tattoo. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, we haven't played that live yet. That's funny.
It's a strong one.
That's probably my favorite vocal performance I've ever had.
That's why.
Yeah,
it's
is it
a real strong vocal?
Yeah, I just got chills, John. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, I listened to that and I go, wow, something that day, something happened or whatever it was, but I felt that song. And I was sending that to a lot of people. I got to re-listen to this record. I haven't visited this record because you listen to everything so much in the studio and you start to question things and everything. And I haven't heard this thing for at least 2 months now, maybe 3 months, So I'm going to go back and listen to that, and I'm going to listen to Threads. Okay, good. I'm going to see what the appeal of that one is.
All right, so Easy Way Out is a song from the forthcoming record. You're ready to do it?
Yeah, I think so. I hope I don't mess up the lyrics. But
I do too.
I'll do my best. All right, Easy Way Out. Clearly not the easiest of songs. Here we go. Under the bed, a vintage suitcase, gathering dust for a while, a rebel at heart forced to reconcile. We traded the travel for a daughter. We'll get back on the road someday. And settling down was the easy way. I always knew what you were thinking, 'cause you'd say the quiet part out loud. We chose the path with the least resistance. We were taking the easy way out. Taking the easy way out. When all the battles led to silence and none of the closure came, you bury the past, try to bury pain. Friends and neighbors in a split decision, choosing one of us, they'll still hang around. They'll choose the path with the least resistance. They'll be taking the easy way out. Taking the easy way out. The end of the road leads to lawyers. The only voice is heard. And then a stranger gets the final word. Someday I'll find it so endearing how you'd say the quiet parts out loud. With a vintage suitcase and no room, I'll be taking the easy way out. Taking the easy way out. Taking the easy way out.
That's Brian Vander Ark.
Sorry.
That's all right. That's Brian Vander Ark on Acoustic Alternatives.
I got a little choked up there.
Yeah. No,
I didn't actually have a little bit of phlegm in my throat.
Yeah, well, understandably, if you did get choked up, it's you're Your
Excuse
story
me.
is your story, and
Yeah.
I mean, I've known you a long time, and when I heard about through the grapevine that things had not worked out, I was hurting for you, my friend.
I appreciate that, man.
really-
Yeah, 18 years. You know, the first thing that the mediator said was we want a mediator instead of attorneys. Now it's up to attorneys for some reason. It's just like, come on. But we sat down with a mediator, and the first thing she said was, first of all, congratulations on 18 years. And I was like, it's nice to hear that. I mean, that's a long time. You think about it. You plan on it being for the rest of my life. So I planned on it, hopefully another 20. But, I get it. I used it. I used it all. I'm exploiting it on this record. I don't know if exploiting is the right word, but this record is more my therapy than anything, So anyway.
People will be able to hear it soonish. There's a vinyl coming. There's obviously digital only, and I'm guessing we will leave CDs behind just because I'm the only one who still wants them.
Yeah.
But I will still want one.
It's funny, cassettes are making this big comeback now. And
Don't let it happen.
I've thrown away so many cassettes. I had the thousands of Verve Pipe cassettes.
You
And
just toss them?
I tossed them because we were cleaning out the storage unit when Donnie left, so 10 years ago. And I was just like, what am I ever going to do with these? I'm just going to carry them from house to house or whatever, you know what I mean? So I dumped them all. I was like, damn it, now kids want them and they can charge a lot of money for them.
It's crazy.
Ridiculous. Anyway.
Before we continue the conversation, I do want to mention again, we're at Grove Studios in Ypsilanti, located, if you're unfamiliar, between Detroit and Ann Arbor, a little closer to Ann Arbor. And it's a great spot if you're a musician or a DJ or a podcaster, obviously, because there's a podcast table that we're sitting at right now, and we're enjoying our conversation. 24/7 operation. If you feel like doing something 2 a.m, go ahead. You can do it here. There's a keypad that lets you in. You get your spot for an hour or two, and it's a very affordable and great option. I think as every musician comes in and looks at you, your first response to the space was, what a great space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm thinking of nefarious things that we could rent this out
You
and
could.
do here,
But don't. Get me in trouble.
Are there cameras?
There are some cameras.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, good to know.
I don't know where they
I won't be
are.
doing that.
I don't know where they are, but we wouldn't necessarily want to do that to my friends who have been so kind. And it's actually the only reason I'm doing the podcast is they invited me to the studio
Nice.
back in the pandemic.
It's a great space,
It
dude.
really
It's a great space. Yeah. Fantastic.
Well, we previously discussed briefly about the imagery of the story that your songs bring out. I was wondering, as I was kind of revisiting our last chat, when you were co-writing with Jeff Daniels, who's obviously good at writing imagery because he writes
He's great.
plays, and
It's terrific.
did he give you any guidance on how to? I mean, you're already good at it, but did you guys talk about that at all? The songwriting craft and making it
We talk about that often.
okay.
He's just different than I am. Jeff, and he's a terrific songwriter, and he's really great at what he does. And his songs always have a bit of a wink to them. You know what I mean? It's always like kind of funny and quirky and but very easygoing for people. Like the thing with Jeff is that he's the guy that puts the apostrophe at the end of the N. You know what I mean? He's that kind of guy.
Grinning.
It's just, yeah, exactly.
Singing.
It's always like that.
There's no G's.
Anything that he's ever sent me, I see that. I see that in all his lyrics. It's like that's totally him. That's who that guy is. And I got him to be I feel like I got him to be a little more serious on Simple Truths, where there isn't that kind of thing. Like he had the song Sailing that I thought was great.
Camera, just to show it.
And taking I-94, he had dismissed that song, and I said, no, there's something there. That's a great. Let me rewrite it, and I rewrote all the lyrics. And he wrote me back. He said, I think you've saved this song. And then he said, but I'm going to go with the original lyrics. And I was like, hey, listen, I love the original lyrics as it was. I just wanted to turn you on to what this song could be, and I think he appreciated that. But he wrote "Hard Right in the Rain," which is a great tune. There's no tracks on here, so I can't go through and pick it apart.
Cases at home, sorry.
No worries. But
Just one of the few I don't have autographs by you, so it's there.
one of the favorite things that I've written is on this. The what's the one about the dad? It's one of the favorite things, and I can't think of it now.
Do you ever do any of these live?
I used to do. yeah, what's the song? Damn it, 1 or 2 bedrooms I share with my brother, Oh, Behold the Brave. Yeah, that's one of the favorite things
I've heard you
written.
actually,
Yeah, I've done. I think that's the only one. And I've done Don't Let Me Die in Michigan. That was more of a silly, fun thing. But yeah, he's terrific. What's great about Jeff is that if I go to Jeff and I say, here's a song, because we'll swap songs. His birthday's coming up too. I usually hit him up on his birthday and send him a bunch of stuff as a chore to listen to. He's great because he'll listen to something and he'll go, if it's not already done, you know what I mean? If I send him a demo, he'll say, yeah, that third verse, you're not, you didn't take the story where it should go. It'll be better if you do this. And I'm like, God damn it, he's right. He's right. He's great at stories. I mean, of course, look, he's, scripts, movies. I mean, the guy writes plays. I mean, he knows a good story. And that's his real strength when it comes to what I need. You know what I mean? And also he's given me great parenting advice. I mean, just the best parenting advice. So he's like a big brother to me that the big brother I didn't have. That's liberal because my brothers are both very conservative. So I can talk to Jeff about anything. He's a terrific guy.
That's great.
And very, he's very open with me, which is nice.
I doubt you'll remember this when you see him or talk to him for his birthday, but I would like to thank him. He let me come to his home and do.
I saw that.
Yeah, and that has opened the door to now I have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube because so many people found my podcast through him.
Yeah,
so I'm grateful to him, and I can't even thank him.
How did you get in that door?
Well, I've been in contact with his people before because I've played his music on my radio shows in the past, and then there was the audiobook coming out about. Basically, we sold it as a podcast, though it wasn't really to me. It was more of an audiobook that was released in chapters at a time. And because the writer's strike was going on, all we could talk about was that, which is absolutely fine because I've always wanted to do a music-only interview with him to talk about his career in music.
He'd love that, too.
He did.
He would love it.
So we did. It was fun.
Yeah, I would have, had he asked me or you asked me, I would have hands down said, yes, absolutely talk to John.
Thanks,
I would have done that. No. I mean, listen, dude, you're the best. I mean, you're one of the best at this.
Thank you. Well, back to the record that's coming out. There's a song on there called Dust that I think it was in the Patreon chat. You mentioned that Ted Ramey is doing a video for that. Is still happening?
Yeah, I don't know. The budget came in. It was like, he had a great idea. He storyboarded it. And when I brought it to the band, everybody flipped. They love it. We all love it. And then you go to management. Management's like, listen, you're spending a lot of money for a vanity thing. Like, this is not going to go anywhere. People are going to watch it a couple times, and then we're going to have buyer's remorse. And for me, I don't know, because I didn't spend a lot of money on Hit and Run, but that's one of my favorite videos that we had done, an animated video that Ofer, I forget his last name. He was I think he lives in Israel, and we got that for maybe $3,000 to $5,000. This kid did all this animation, and it's just fantastic. It's a gorgeous video, but you can't really spend $30,000, $40,000 on a video anymore if you're independent. We don't have that kind of money.
No label, no.
Yeah, there's no label, and it's like, we could spend that money on doing something else that would be more valuable. I got like 4 new records, you know what I mean, for that money. So I don't think that's going to happen now, unfortunately. But Ted is. I love Ted. I just saw him when I took my daughter to see Seven. It was in IMAX. They had 7 in IMAX. Remember that great movie?
Oh, yeah.
And my daughter loved it.
What's in the box?
Yeah, what's in the box? 14 years old. She was riveted because that movie's like 2 hours and 20 minutes, and it's hard to keep her attention. But she loved it. Oh, she loved that movie. Anyway, Ted was there too. Like, for whatever reason, I guess great minds think alike. How fun this movie is. And he said, I talked to him there. He said, "Yeah, I haven't seen this since it was in the theaters before." I was like, "Same." And I was just blown away at how great it is. You know what I mean? Anyway. So that's the last interaction I've had with Ted. That was a couple months ago. But he moved to Grand Rapids. So, yeah. So he was in LA for years and decided to move to Grand Rapids. He's a very talented guy. I have no doubt that if we make that video, if we have a windfall of cash or something and we make that video, it'll be fantastic and super fun. But yeah, right now we can't afford it.
Will there be any attempt to send a single to radio? I mean, I know you don't think it's going to make a huge difference. But do you even think about that anymore?
No. There's nobody's beating down our doors. You know?
I know,
So
but
waiting for the new one.
But what if there's a really good song that catches people's attention? Like sometimes it does take a while for people to appreciate what they used to have.
Well, I mean, so many stations now are playing. There's so many classic. I mean, I do a classic rock show in Grand Rapids on LAV. There's so many stations that are in bed with the record labels that it's just like it would just be impossible.
Well, then have somebody target just independent radio stations.
Yeah, we've done that. We've hired independent promoters. For a particular song. And you give them 10 grand, and then this happened with Overboard. Gave him 10 grand or something to do Crash Landing because that's kind of sounds like the single. And it's like, hey, list of stations that he got to agree to play it were like, WIDR in Kalamazoo and the college stations or whatever. But it was like, well, we can already do that. You know what I mean? We need you to get it, and then we never heard from him again. And I was like, all right, so it's difficult. I would be more interested. Very interested if Sirius XM would pick up something, but they haven't played anything new of ours in years. So, that would be the route, I think. The Spectrum's a great station, XMU or whatever it is. It's great too. But,
it's a tougher game now, really.
Tough game. There are so many fucking bands, John.
Yeah.
There's so much music. It's like
studios in your house now.
The great thing, the thing I'll say about the great thing about that is now it has to go back to more word of mouth. Mm-hmm. You go to people you trust, and if you tell me you should listen to this, I'll go listen to it. But anything else, it's like I'm not going to go through all the minutia. I'm not going to go through everything to try to find a nugget here and there. I don't have that kind of time. You know what I mean? So we're back to the time of, before, when radio became super commercial. We're back to that time where it was like, hey, check this out. Here's something by, the Dandy Warhols that you might not know, or here's something by, Jellyfish. Remember that band?
Yeah.
It was like, check this out.
First album was great.
Amazing album.
Yeah. Second one was good. But.
Yeah. So that we're back to that place now, which I do like that. So.
In your last session here, you did a little snippet of a song, and I don't think it showed up on anything unless I don't remember, but hey, Mr. Conductor was the first line from the song.
Oh, yeah, I rewrote that.
What did that become? Or is that
That became...
the melody was very familiar with it.
Yes. That ended up... that ended up being a song I took to the Rock Boat. I went out on the Rock Boat, pre-Rock Boat cruise, where they have, it's called Banana Sessions. And there's 6 lead singers that go on a cruise for a week, and you write stuff together. And I think we wrote 10 songs, and then we performed them on the Rock Boat the next time we went on the Rock Boat. And I took that with me because I wanted to rewrite the whole thing, and ended up rewriting the whole thing. And now the title escapes me. Oh, Better Days. Okay. Here's to Better Days it became. And that it's much better. So I'm glad that worked out. Yeah.
The cruise thing you mentioned actually seems to be, as you mentioned a little earlier too, is helping you guys gain a little bit of momentum, and the Creed people inviting you to join you again.
Yeah.
My friend Kathy just was on the Rock Boat and was saying, how you guys got great audience response on the Rock Boat. My favorite vacation ever was a Calmo cruise, which is similar. The same people put it together.
Yeah.
And it was, 7 days of music from 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. somewhere on the ship. I was in heaven. Like, just for me, that's where music fans are really, just like we're all concentrated in one little spot.
Right.
I felt like that is a good way for you, because you said like Austin isn't a place that's booking you Nashville.
Right.
These people might be from Austin or Nashville,
right.
and they're at least still interested.
That's what happened. Because when we went out, after the cruise last year, which I did, it was probably a year ago, our first cruise ever with the Creed cruise. Over the past year, we've had a ton of people wherever we are. We're up in the Northeast, we're in the Southwest, whatever. And they're like, yeah, we came because we saw you in the Creed cruise. It was so awesome. And it's helped exponentially.
What I wanted to know. Did it grow your audience? And it sounds like it has.
Well, I'll tell you what, the first one, and this is going to happen again, although there are a lot of repeat customers on the Creed cruises. The first one we did, we had an autograph session before we played. Mm-hmm. Like other bands had played and everything. So we're in a big room, an autograph session. it was like a Spinal Tap moment for us. There's like nobody coming over, you know, lines for Fuel and, you know, and for Creed, of course, and Three Doors Down and everything. And nobody was coming over. And then the next one, we had a ton of people. It was crazy. Awesome. And what really helped us in those cruises is that, especially in the Creed cruise, not in the Rock Boat, because the Rock Boat's a little more easygoing, but in the Creed cruise, you know, those guys, Creed and Three Doors Down, they never come out of the artist lounge or their areas. Like, we go to the main cafeteria where everybody is, because I'm like, we're going to play this fucking thing up like nobody's business. We're going to be that band that everybody gets a selfie with, you know, and it worked. That's and by awesome. The end of it, you know, we break into the songs. We broke into Bridge Over Troubled Water on the elevator full of people. You know what I mean? It's just so fun. I mean, why not enjoy it? Why not enjoy it?
I'm going to join the band just so I can be part of that.
Yeah, it's so fun. We do have a blast. You drink too much, though. That's the thing. You know, you're out on the water. And
don't have to drive anywhere.
You don't have to drive anywhere. Yeah, that's the issue.
Well, you seem to have embraced the social media thing pretty well. Lots of little humorous short videos and poking fun at Rob Thomas. Does he ever poke fun at you?
I love Rob. No. Listen, it's so funny because people think we have this real thing. And it's a fake feud. And it's, you know, it started because I used to complain all the time around the house, you know, with Lux, you know. You think Rob Thomas is, you know, has to, you know, change his own garbage disposal. You know what I mean? Do you think Stephen Jenkins has to, you know, carry his own merch bins, all this stuff? And then I did that one where I was re-demoing my bathroom. And I'm like, oh, you think Rob Thomas has to, you know, do this? I just said something like, fucking Rob Thomas, you think he has to do this, whatever. And it took off. And then I just started doing them. And that's became it was my niche. You know, and I reached out to Rob. I'm like, dude, I didn't have a salary. I had to do it through social media, but I'm like, dude, this is all a big joke. You know, it's just
poking fun,
just having fun. Yeah. And it's like, if you want to play it up, play it up. Well, he saw one of the videos I did where I got pulled over for the ticket, and he commented. He watched it. You know, they filmed him watching people, you know, on TikTok, and he watched it, and you know, he kind of took the joke the wrong way. No. You know what I mean? He didn't play it up. He could have played it up and we could have had a real battle, but he was like, oh, it's my old friend Brian. Yeah, he's cool. I really like the Verve Pipe. I was like, oh, dude, he's such a nice guy. He's like, can you play along, please? Let's have fun with this. You know, but he didn't. And then I kind of shut it down. I don't do much of that anymore.
You reminded me that the one time I got to interview John Hyatt in front of 400 people, at a Borders, I brought up to, you know, like, do you have to do the laundry or something? I don't even know why it came up in conversation.
Yeah.
He's like, my wife? Yeah, my wife makes it. Doesn't she know you're John Hyatt?
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, you should tell her.
You're not, you know, I wasn't Brian Vander Ark at home. I was not the lead singer of the Verve Pipe. In fact, my kids hate to hear about that. They hate the music. They don't listen to any of it.
All right, we didn't pre-discuss. I have a few more questions.
Yeah.
And we didn't decide whether we're doing 3 or 4 songs, so let's decide that before I continue.
Yeah, let me, you know what I would do? I would do No One's Gonna Break This Heart if you'd let me.
Yeah.
I don't think I've done that acoustically.
We did it here, actually, but.
I did? I already did that for you?
Yeah.
Oh, damn, I don't want to do that then. What can I do?
Anything else from the album that you're able to pull off solo?
It's tough.
Okay.
Shit. Oh, John, I should have gone over some stuff. No, I'd end up having to stop. I might be able to do Dust. I mean, it's, you know, it's just that it's not, you know, it's more of a rocker.
That's okay. So Acoustic Alternatives is the name of the show. You realize that, right?
Oh, all right. I mean, I can give Dust a shot. You know,
I'm game.
Did you want me to do that now?
And if this is your last song, no. I'll ask more questions and then we'll save it.
It would be the last song of this record.
Well, I just meant in general. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right. We'll continue with a few more questions and then we'll get back to Dust.
I love it. Great.
I just recently attended a show where you just were last night at 20 Front Street. Stephen Kellogg, if you're familiar with him at all.
Great I love him. Great.
And he did an all-request show and let people write songs on a piece of paper, fold them, put them in a hat, and he grabbed and he knew everything.
That's crazy to me.
Would you be able to do that?
No.
I
can't even pull things out of my ass right now, John. Are you kidding me?
You've got
never be able to do that.
100+ songs that you've written.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got a hell of a catalog too, and it's like sometimes I'll go out at the end of the show or when I come out for the encore. Anybody want to hear anything? In case I miss something. And then I'll hear a bunch of things and I'll pick one that I can actually play, But I would never be able to do that. I would need a request in advance.
It was kind of a frightening, I can't believe he's doing this, because what if somebody pulls out something from one of those really early records? Yeah. Does he remember it? But,
right.
The hardest thing he got was somebody said Free Fallin', because he had mentioned Tom Petty at some point. He's like, well, I don't know the words to that. So he told her she had to come up with her phone and hold the lyrics. And
he's smart.
He pulled it up. No, it was good.
He's a funny guy.
He is a really
I really
funny
like
guy.
that guy.
He's a good guy.
It's a great band.
He actually, I'll tell you the story later. He's actually the reason I got to go in Cayamo, but I'll tell you that story later.
Oh, all right.
You're here in the studio with me, kind of in the midst of some rarer solo dates. In your first visit, you spoke about the solo album that you and Andy were working on at the time, I think.
Yeah. Yep, we were.
Did some of those songs end up on the new record, or is there still a solo album kind of in the works?
Which song did end up on the record? This one? I don't think any of those did.
Because he kind of mentioned that he was working on a solo record with you.
Yeah, he wanted to do a Brandy Carlisle type of album, rootsy album with me, and it wasn't me, and I didn't feel like it was working.
Okay.
So, I didn't want to waste his time anymore, and I really didn't want to waste my own time. I wanted to work on a new Verve Pipe record too. And so I think I took a few of those songs into the sessions with the band, and then I was like, no, none of this is working,
Okay.
And so we started from scratch. This experience, though, was the best. That was the best and then the worst.
You went to a cabin, right? For this
yes, we went. Our friend Mike O. He owns a cabin up in what's the name of the city up there? Boone, Michigan. And he owns, and he built a giant, like 2 big barns and stuff. And one of the barns is a full-on music venue because they love to have music up there with the stage and lights and the whole thing. And then the other barn is like a place for bands to go chill, and it's got sound system and the whole thing. And so we went up there for free. He's such a great guy. And we stayed for a week, and we worked out all these song ideas. Like Lou would say, I got this idea. And I was like, oh, that's great. Let's do something with that or whatever. And that's how this album was written. And we haven't done that. We haven't done pre-production like that since the early Verve Pipe days. I think for Villains.
Okay.
Or the Frog album was the last time I think we did that, where we all sat in a room and came up with stuff. So this is a really authentic record. I feel like this is a really authentic record. Now, then we go to, Bay City and love Andy Reid. Andy Reid's terrific. Got a great, great ear, great equipment. But it's in Bay City.
Tiny space and basement.
Tiny space.
I've been in the studio before.
Tiny space. But it's in Bay City. It's a 2.5 hour drive to get there.
Yeah.
And then you work for 4 or 5 hours. And then it's 2.5 hours back. And we did that over and over and over. I think we stayed overnight once or twice. But, we all have other commitments.
Families, et cetera. Yeah.
So it was that second half of the recording was tough, doing that. It took about a year going back and forth before that album was ready and done, Okay. I love the result. So,
no, it's good.
Yeah. But
we talked about a more biography-oriented book in our last visit as well. Did you shelve that for a little while?
I've been working on that for 12, 13 years now. It's taken a lot of different twists and turns, and I haven't really found the voice I want yet, frankly. I realized I don't have a lot of, if you don't have a lot of stories, a lot of, let's say, stories about drugs, I didn't go to rehab. You know what I mean? If you don't have, yeah, I know exactly. It's funny. I went to AA. I went to an AA meeting, right after Lux and I broke up, and I'm like, I'm gonna get a handle on this, so I stopped drinking. So I went to the AA meeting, and first of all, I lied, because usually when you go to a meeting, they'll say, anybody here never been here before? And then they adjust the meaning around you, and everybody talks to you directly. And I'm like, I don't want that. So I was like, no, I didn't say anything. And then they got to me in the whole thing, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know what I'm doing. This is my first meeting. And they're like, oh, okay. And everybody turned their chair to me, and they're looking at me, and they're telling me their story. I was like, oh my God, this is my nightmare. And then they get you, they say, the next meeting is the most important one. Because if you come to the next meeting, then you'll keep coming. But if you don't come to the next meeting, you'll never go again. I'm like, well, now that they said that, I can't not go to the next meeting. So I went to the next meeting, and I realized I don't have the stories that these people have. There are people that wake up in the middle of the night and just to take a drink so they don't wake up with the shakes.
That's not
I'm
good.
like, no, I drink under the, 14 recommended a week or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm not that, and I thought, I don't have any stories to tell. And every time it comes to me, I just pass. I'm like, all right, I'm out. So anyway, how did I get on that tangent? It was something about the stories. The book. Yeah. So I don't have those extreme stories.
Yeah. Not going to compete with Keith Richards on stories like
exactly. Or The Dirt, a great book, Motley Crue. So I'm like, does anybody really care about this? And so, I make it funny. I'm a decent writer of that stuff. I used to write blogs and stuff and crack people up. And so it's right now, it's a draft. It's done. It's okay. I just don't think it's that great. I just want to keep working on it. Okay. Anyway.
Looking forward to it at some point.
I'm going to put out the poetry book before I put that book out.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Patreon, in which I am a patron of your page. I wondered how important.
Appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. I have a page myself. It doesn't provide a whole lot for me because I'm not you. I have $18 a month coming from that, which is not much. But I wondered how much of a significant, like if you lost Patreon, how much damage would that do?
That's my mortgage.
Oh my gosh, really?
Pays my mortgage.
That's great.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it's good. Yeah, it's definitely good for me.
A lot of people in your position are using that, and I think music fans need to realize the story you told earlier about like you guys just want to go out and play.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't pay that well, you still want to just be out there doing the thing. And they might be taking for granted that that's going to continue to happen. He needs to eat. He needs to have a place to live. Like all of your favorite musicians don't have the same level of income that they used to have. If you're a fan of the music from the 80s and 90s or whatever, there's a big gap between what they used to make from sales and what they now make on tickets.
It's true. It's true. And the funny, I made a mistake early on with Patreon where I posted way too much. I posted like every other day.
I loved it.
Well, I know, but then I'm running.
At
2 years. This is during COVID. Yeah. 2 years, I ran out of like all my own demos and everything.
You haven't released everything we've done. You've put like 2 of the things we've done.
Oh, it's true. I keep forgetting to go back in and grab those. Yeah, that's a great reminder today that I'll do that. But I love Patreon and I love the community that I have. I've got a really good community of people. They all log on to the concerts, the home concerts, and
those are the true fans.
They really are the true fans. And I'm sure there were plenty of, and I do have plenty of patrons that kind of set it and forget it. You know what I mean? They put it on their credit card and you're like, $20 a month or $50 a month. They just, and I never heard from them again, but they're still giving me their money. It's like, oh, fantastic. Yeah. It's a great relationship we have.
Thank you. I'll see you sometime down the road.
Yeah. But, I bend over backwards for whenever I can, get people free tickets and everything. And I am so appreciative of the Patreon people. It's really been a great community, like I said.
It's one of the best examples of the people I support. You seem to give a lot, and I appreciate that as a
Oh, is
supporter.
that true?
Yes.
You feel like, compared to everybody else?
Some they might post a video or a video of a song, but they don't actually give you the song. Like,
oh yeah, okay. I gave the record out.
Yeah,
I gave the whole record out because why not?
I'm not going to mention who it is, but one of the ones I'm supporting for now is previews of the songs before the album comes out, and then you can buy the song for $3.33 before anybody else. I'm like, everyone else is just giving it to me if I'm supporting them on Patreon. What do you mean I have to still buy the songs? Just a weird approach to the same financial support.
It's funny.
Model.
My manager didn't know that I gave the record out to anybody. He's like,
that's a good move here because we're talking about it and trying to make sure that people hear about it.
Oh, he's so precious. Again, it's all so precious. It's like, what does it matter? Come on. Anyway.
Does music swim around in your head when you're not performing, like when you're just walking around? Do you have songs that bounce around in there?
No, not anymore.
No.
Used to.
It's quiet up there?
It's quiet up. Well, I'm practicing quiet. I'm meditating and I've been able to shut things down. That's another, John, this is why you're the best. It's a great question. I don't know what happened. At some point, I started losing musical ideas. I had so many musical ideas and no lyric ideas for so long. Now I could go back into my computer and I could find old musical ideas and work on, but I just don't have that desire right now. I don't have the desire to write. I don't feel like it's time to write.
Okay.
I usually feel that way when I get done with a record, and then something will hit me, and I'll go, oh, there's a song. I got to get that song. I get so excited, and when you get super anxious to plug something in because you're so like, though I get those feelings. I don't have them right now. Right now, I'm like, we're going to make this live show better and better and better. We're going to come up with new moments for everyone. That's where my head's at for sure. But Channing's working on a solo record already. She's terrific.
There was a patron event in the Grand Rapids area, and I finally got a chance to talk to her a little bit, and that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And she said something, and I actually wondered if that was ever coming out.
Yeah, well, she her first song for that was Roulette, which is on our new album. And I said, I love that song. I wonder if you'd let me have a shot at it. We could do a duet thing. It might be fun. And so we did that for the record.
Okay. Well,
but now she's writing new stuff for her record. It's wonderful.
put her in touch when she's ready. I'd love to have her on.
And Brad too. Brad's
doing
Brad's
solo
always doing he's been doing his solo stuff for years. His songs are just ridiculous. Like he wrote, Canyon of Canopies on this new record, and it's one of our favorites. We love it. It's so quirky and weird and fun. Reminds me of Weezer meets Ween. It's like just this odd thing. And that's who he is. And he wrote 4 or 5 songs for this record, but that's the only one that was really accessible, where people wouldn't be thrown by it. He and I wrote Suffered a Head Injury. We wrote that song. We wrote a couple more. Even the score, I think we wrote together. We wrote, So he's a formidable. Why doesn't that sound right? Formidable? Yeah. Formidable songwriter?
Okay.
Yeah. What's
Very
the matter with me?
You're tired. I'll let you play your song, let you go, get your lunch. I made you late for lunch already. This is Dust from the new album from Brian Vander Ark.
Oh, man, I hope I can do this.
Forthcoming Verve Pipe record.
Dust on my desk and on my bed and on my car keys. Dust on my phone and in my heart and in my bloodstream. Caught in my mind while this dust settles on me, locked like a frame in a film till I'm burning. I'd rather die than live inside of this memory, memory, memory. Settle on me, settle on me, settle on me. Lost in between figurine, little fanfare. Live in the now, but what if now is a nightmare? I'd rather die than live inside of this memory, memory, memory. Settle on me, settle on me, settle on me. I'd rather die than live inside of this memory, memory, memory. Settle on me, settle on me, settle on me.
You made it.
Was that okay?
You made it. That was great.
Was it?
Passionate enough.
I wonder.
No, you did great.
That's got one of my, I really like the line because in the past couple of years, I've been reading the Eckhart Tolle book, about being in the moment, just stay in this one moment, and the idea that, be in the now, but what if now sucks? You know what I mean? To be present. But what if now is a nightmare? You know what I mean? So I had to put that in the song. But it's true. I feel like that's one of those songs that it's old school Verve Pipe. It's much more rockin'. Mm-hmm. It's much more grunge with those little half-step changes and stuff. And people love it. That goes over huge on the Creed cruise. Oh my God, that's it. And plus, we don't often end songs abruptly.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I've learned that, over the years. I'm like, oh, that's such a gimmick. They do that, so then there's going to be rousing applause. But it really works with that song. So it doesn't happen very often. But when it does, it works for sure. So.
Well, thank you for sharing stories and songs with me.
Yeah,
and I really enjoy our time together. It's not frequent enough, but I'm sending you a hug across the table for.
Same. I feel the same, John. I always have a good time here, dude. You're the best. Like I said, I do. Your questions are always intuitive and smart, and it's not the average podcast. I get hit up for podcasts all the time. Everybody's got a podcast. You know that already. I say no to so many podcasts. I just say zero desire. I would drive all the way over here just to do this for you, buddy.
Thanks,
You're
man.
the best.
I appreciate that we were able to work this out. And
Yeah,
people can find more information about this forthcoming Verve Pipe album at thevervepipe.com, right?
Yes, of course.
Your solo page also has
Yep.
dates about when you're playing for either a solo or a Verve Pipe show.
Yep.
We can't give you a date yet.
Sorry, I still
Soon.
don't know. I got to talk to Doug, a manager.
Let's put it out. I mean, is it wrong to put out the digital version before the vinyl is available? Is that?
I think he likes to, it's a whole thing, John. I don't know. And I've just backed off. I don't think about the business anymore too much.
that's a
I
job.
mean, if people were chomping at the bit, really quick, one more story.
Yeah.
When we did the second Kids record, like the first Kids record was a huge success.
It's a fun record.
So fun. And we had a blast, and we were in there with all the other bands that were doing kids albums and stuff. And we sold a ton of those CDs and records. We did all those kids shows. And then we were going to do the second Kids record. And then we had Target on board for end caps. Like we had a whole thing.
Wow.
And there was, so there was, 25, 30, 40,000 that were pre-ordered, but the album wasn't done yet. And Donnie was taking so long. That second album took an extra 6 months, and we lost all of those. Just because everybody was so precious and stuff. But those, like I said, those days are over as far as I'm concerned. My manager doesn't think so. Anyway, why not just put it out, John?
I agree.
Maybe I'll have you call him.
Okay. I'll do it. Well, thanks to you, and thanks to Grove Studios once again for being a great home. And I have to thank them for providing a space for me to continue to do this. This is one of the few joys I have in my life, if I'm being honest. And this is a way for me to expose people to more music that I think is worth hearing. It's a platform that goes beyond the once a week radio show I do on Radio Cobra Detroit and Sonic Coast, the once a week video playlist I put together on YouTube, and for folks who follow me on Patreon, I'm sharing old interviews with you from my past. That's the only spot to hear some of those. So Grove really is kind of making it possible. So thanks to them. If you're a band or a DJ, need a space to practice, please come here. And Brian, I hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, buddy. Good to
right.
see you, man. Always a great time.
Next session's scheduled to be recorded. Sometimes things fall through, but Kat Edmondson is going to be in the area playing a show at the Ark, and we're going to talk about her forthcoming releases this year and her career, which has included duetting with Lyle Lovett on her first record, which is a pretty good way to start. Looking forward to a chat with Kat, and thanks for listening.